Hello, everybody. Thanks ever so much for investing your time with us today. A warm welcome to you all. If you haven't already, please pop your microphones on mute. This session is going to be recorded and also transcribed. My name's Claire. I'm a member of the Motivation Social Enterprise team here in the UK, and along with Sarah, Chris and other colleagues, we'll be endeavouring to introduce you to cushions, wheelchair cushions, skin viability, skin care and the impact of pressure sores and pressure ulcers aren't exclusively an issue for people who use wheelchairs, but their risk can be increased. So we'll be hearing from experts on wheelchair cushions, people who use the products, clinicians, technical experts, and of course have plenty of time for your questions. We'll look at the different types of cushions, their function, material, supply methods, care and replacement. And be ready. So we'll be coming to you often and early for your comments and questions. And a big thanks to everyone who's submitted their questions in advance. We've tried to weave your answers to those into this presentation. The Royal National Orthopaedic Hospital in Stanmore here in the UK is a centre of excellence for spinal cord injury rehabilitation. They state, pressure ulcers are a frequent, costly and potentially life-threatening complication. Pressure ulcers can have a major impact on the quality of life. Prevention, early detection and treatment is key. So today we're going to be focusing on just one of those areas of prevention, the use of wheelchair cushions. Right, next slide, please. So we're going to get to it and hear from experts. We'll start with people who have a lived experience of use of wheelchair cushions. And then we're going to hear from clinical and technical colleagues before checking in again with you on the questions.
I'm Mahesh. I'm part of Motivation India, a charitable organization based in Bangalore, India. We work with people with disabilities to enhance their mobility and inclusion in society. I've been a wheelchair user for over 25 years, and I wish to focus on the importance of appropriate seat cushions for wheelchair users. To start, I wish to clarify the seat cushion for a wheelchair user is very different to a pillow or a thin piece of cushion that one gets with a standard wheelchair that you buy off the shelf. I sit on my wheelchair from the time I get up in the morning up until night and go about my daily life. This is how it has been for years. Therefore, the seat cushion of my wheelchair is an absolute necessity. My cushion is custom made to my need with the required length, thickness and contours. This helps me sit for long hours comfortably, shift my weight and make sure my legs do not fall apart. My seat cushion has a water resistant cover so that the cushion does not get wet when I change my catheter daily. There are times when I need to transfer to a transit wheelchair at the hospital or at the airport. I really dread these times because they're so uncomfortable and do not have a proper solution. Unfortunately, wheelchair cushions are not given the kind of attention it needs. What we need are seat cushions that can be customized, provides comfort to the user, that is durable, and most importantly, affordable. Thank you.
வணக்கம் என் பேர் பிரசன்னகுமாரி. நான் திருவள்ளூர் மாவட்டத்திலேருந்து பேசுகிறேன். இன்னைக்கு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா வீல் சேரில் இருக்கிற குஷனை பற்றி தான் நான் பேசுகிறேன். வீல் சேர் எவ்வளோ முக்கியமோ குஷனும் அவ்வளோ முக்கியம். ஏன்னா எனக்கு வீல் சேரில் வந்து பார்த்திங்கன்னா நான் காலையிலேருந்து நைட்டு வரையுமே வீல் சேரில் தான் இருப்பேன். அதனால் வீல் சேரில் இருக்கிற குஷன் சரியில்லைன்னா நிறைய ப்ராப்ளங்களை வரும், நிறைய ப்ராப்ளங்கள் வரும். எப்படின்னா அது வந்து ஹார்டாக இருந்துச்சுன்னா நம்மளால் உட்காரவே முடியாது, நிறைய ஸ்கின் ப்ராப்ளம் வரும், அப்புறமா வந்து இப்போ பெயின் எல்லாம் கூட வரும். ஆனால் குஷன் நல்லா ஸ்மூத்தாக நல்லா இருந்துச்சுன்னா நம்மளால் உட்கார முடியும், நிறைய நேரம் உட்கார முடியும், நம்மளால் நிறைய வேலைகளை கூட செய்ய முடியும். அதனால் வீல் சேர் எவ்வளோ முக்கியமோ குஷனும் அவ்வளோ முக்கியம். நம்மளுக்கு எவ்வளோ பெரிய வீல் சேர் கிடைச்சாலும், எவ்வளோ பெரிய நல்ல காஸ்ட்லியான வீல் சேராக இருந்தாலும் சரி, நிறைய எதுவாக இருந்தாலும், எப்படி பெரிய பெரிய ஒரு ஏதோ எந்த ஃபர்னிச்சராக இருந்தாலும் எதுவாக இருக்கட்டும், ஆனால் குஷன் முக்கியம். அது ஒழுங்காக இருந்தால் தான் நம்மளால் உட்கார முடியும். அதனால எனக்கு எனக்கு என்ன சொல்லுவேன்னா, குஷன் தான் ரொம்ப முக்கியம் அப்படின்னு நினைப்பேன். வணக்கம், என் பேர் பிரசன்னகுமார்.
Hi, this is Sudhakar from India, to a physical therapist working in the space of wheelchairs and seating solution for the past 17 years. And today I'm going to talk about appropriate wheelchair and appropriate cushion for the wheelchair for the benefit of the people with disabilities. So when I talk about appropriate wheelchair, in many developing countries, often it is donated or was distributed. After the release of WHO guidelines from 28 till today and the release of 2.0 WHO guidelines in 2023, there is a slight change in the communities where it is implemented. But still, there is a way forward to do many things across different countries in terms of implementing the visa service provision in a proper way, following the 8-step or 4-step WHO approaches, as well as setting up the standards and systems in the countries. So this is one side. A wheelchair and a cushion, if we consider, cushion is a key component in any appropriate wheelchair. Often it is overlooked, ignored. There are many different types of cushions that are available based on the different functions, based on the different materials and all those things. According to me, in my experience, without a cushion, a wheelchair is incomplete. And in many settings, from the poor resourced settings, the wheelchair which is given to the people are usually a temporary wheelchair or a hospital-style wheelchair, which has a small, thick seat cushion, or the seat itself has a thick material which acts as a cushion. So often it is not considered. Hi.
Hello and welcome to this introduction to wheelchair cushions. My name is Chris Rushman and this is a short summary of wheelchair cushions as covered by the WHO Wheelchair Service Training Packs and by the WHO Assistive Product Specifications Guidelines. This overview is related to the less resource settings context for wheelchair service providers. A wheelchair cushion has three main benefits. The first is to improve the sitting comfort of all wheelchair users. The second is to provide pressure relief by redistributing pressure to protect the skin and the soft tissues of the body. Anyone at risk of developing a pressure sore should always use a pressure relief cushion. And thirdly, by providing postural support, improving the posture and stability when sitting in the wheelchair.
So thanks ever so much to Mahesh, Prasanna Kumari, Sudhakar and Chris for their perspectives. What jumps out to me in that is that a wheelchair is not complete until it has an appropriate wheelchair cushion. So we'll come to any additional questions you had now, but quite a lot of folks ahead of the event were good enough to send us through some questions as well. As I said, we've tried to weave those in. So quite a lot were around when a wheelchair cushion should be used. And that's pretty much always on that. But I'll just check the chat to see if there are any other questions coming through. Feel free to pop anything in there. No, we're good for the moment, but we'll return to that again in just a moment. So now, next slide, please. We're going to head back to Chris and start with him looking at the different types, or some of the different types of wheelchair cushions. And then we're going to go to Sonia, who's going to do a bit of a comparison between two of the major types of wheelchair cushions that we come across day to day.
Provide different levels to these three benefits, and we're going to have a quick look at them now. A cushion is an essential part of every wheelchair and for every user, and it can get confusing because there can be many different types of cushion out there. They are usually described by the different materials they're made from, or by the different materials that they're filled with, or by the shape of the top surface, or described by their main function. What we have here, for example, is some PU foam, some polyurethane foam cushions, and they have different top surfaces on their top surfaces. Contouring. This has less of a contouring, so it's more of a comfort cushion. This cushion has some deeper contouring, which gives better pressure relief and postural support features. We also have different types of foam here. We can see we've got some firmer chip foam here for the base with a bit of contouring for postural support, pressure relief, and then it comes with a thinner top layer of polyurethane foam, which just provides a bit more comfort. Some cushions have no contouring, are quite thin, soft polyurethane foam, and these are really short-term use comfort cushions only. Other materials that we've come across include coconut coir with latex that have been molded together to provide a firm base that's also fairly waterproof, and it comes with a top layer of thinner polyurethane foam just to provide a bit more comfort to the user. Here we're seeing it's like a plastic noodle type material of these little plastic noodles that have been welded together, and it kind of mimics the properties of foam. There's no contouring on this particular cushion, so it's more of a comfort cushion, but it does provide, it's quite lightweight and is quite waterproof compared to foam cushions. There are also other types of cushions like air-filled cushions or gel-filled cushions, and these have very good pressure redistributing properties, but can be more expensive and have a slight risk that they can be punctured and then they start to lose their properties quite quickly. So a wheelchair cushion usually comes with the following features, which I'm going to demonstrate on this cushion. And the first feature we're going to discuss is the pre-seat bone or ischial bone shelf or support. So we can see here we have a bit of support at the shelf at the front here, the seat bone shelf. Here we've got our seat bones here, and we've got our coccyx here. And we can see that that shelf just stops the pelvis from sliding forward too much. So the pelvis will just sit in here like that, and it will just provide a bit more postural support. And we can see here on this children's cushion, you can see it's a bit narrow for a child, but you can see here it's got a much more pronounced shelf that provides a bit more firm resistance. The next feature is the side supports here and here, which create a well in the center, and that helps just to take the pressure off the seat bones here and the coccyx and help redistribute that pressure. The height of the well varies depending on how much postural support or how much pressure relief is needed by the user, and different cushions will have different levels depending on the clinical need determined by the wheelchair service team. So the next feature is the thigh support area, and which may include some inside support and some outside thigh support, which helps distribute the pressure and accommodate some of the soft tissue around the thigh area, and helps guide the thighs and keep the thighs in a good neutral position. Another feature is there may be some beveling on the bottom of the cushion. This cushion is designed to fit on a hard flat surface, so there's no beveling. But this cushion here is designed to be on a slung seat, so it's just got a little bit of the foam removed on the side so that it will sit in that slightly slung hammock shape of a wheelchair seat. We need to remember that every cushion needs to match the wheelchair seat width and seat depth. So the seat width and the seat depth of that particular wheelchair that's gone for the wheelchair user. And so they can either come in a range of widths and sizes, or for example, like this cushion, they can be cut down to match that particular wheelchair seat for that particular user.
Hello everyone, my name is Soumya and I'm a physiotherapist by profession, and I'm into wheelchair service provision from past 10 years. As you can see, today I'm going to speak about cushions. So let me tell you about this cushion. So as you can see here, with me says flat cushion. So this is made of PU foam and it is used as a comfort cushion. So as you can see, many of the wheelchairs normally and typically comes with this kind of cushion, so which is flat in nature. So this cushion only gives a comfort to the user. So the users who are not at the risk of pressure sore and do not have any sensory issues can use this kind of cushion. So as I told you about flat cushion, these can be used only for temporary basis and only for short period of time. So now let me show you how the pelvis sits on a pressure relief cushion and a flat cushion. As you can see with me, I have a pressure relief cushion. This is a seat wearing and this is for the thigh support. So let me show you now. So as you can see, the pelvis properly sits in the seat and the pressure is equally distributed all along the cushion and within the pressure relief cushion. And when you cover the flat cushion, there is no pressure relieving happening with the flat cushion, and hence people who are at high risk of pressure sores or who have less sensations, it is always better to go for pressure relief than the flat cushion. Now, hope you understand what is the difference between a pressure relief cushion and a flat cushion. Thank you.
Thanks ever so much to Chris
Hello, everyone.
and Samaya there for a really good overview of different types of cushions and how they have different properties and are unique, or as unique as the people that require to use them. You saw a couple of channels in some of the cushions that Chris showed in particular. Most motivation pressure relief cushions can be cut to size and have an adaptable cover as well. We're going to hear a bit more about covers and care as well from Chris a bit later as well. We've had a brilliant question in Toril. Thanks ever so much for posting that. Chris, I'm going to come to you, I think, perhaps to answer this. It's around, do atmospheric conditions have an impact on the type of cushions and the material? Chris, I'm putting you on the spot. Can you offer us an answer there?
Yes, hi Claire. Yes, they do. One of the key issues with cushions is, especially with foam cushions, is that the heat of if you're living in the tropics or in hot environments, you can get we just need to, sorry, I'm just going to mute something there. You have to really watch out for your skin condition, and the hotter the skin gets, the more moisture that you get next to the skin. That's, you have to really look after your skin, and your skin can break down faster in those sort of hot atmospheric conditions. So foam is great because it's a good low-cost solution, and it's easy to get nice contouring on it. It's easy to modify, but you do have to be aware and be checking your skin quite regularly. Other types of cushions can be a bit cooler. For example, if you're using a sort of a coir cushion, or if you're using sort of air cushions, or sort of, cushions with sort of gel pads inside. But the foam cushion has really good pressure relief and postural support properties, is comfortable, but if you're living in a hot, humid environment, you do need to be checking your skin regularly.
Awesome. Thanks ever so much for that, Chris. That's great. As we saw, Samaya kindly demonstrated the difference between a pressure relief and a comfort cushion. And we've got a little picture here of our multi-sport wheelchair, which actually comes with a comfort cushion as standard. Obviously, this is very much a temporary use product, with folks perhaps just using it for 30 or 40 minutes per day. Brilliant. Okay, so next up, we're going to look at the vital link in wheelchair and cushion provision and the services that support them. So let's head to Charles. Next slide and press play, please, Sarah.
Good morning and good afternoon. My name is Charles Kanye, and I work with Motivation Charitable Trust in Kenya office. I work as a regional service development coordinator, and my main work is to work with our partners. About my experience on cushions that we provide, pressure relief cushions that we provide, most of the users, when they get pressure relief cushions and they are trained on how to use the cushion, they benefit a lot from the cushions because it prevents them developing pressure sores. When clients realizes the benefits of an appropriate cushion, they take care of the cushions very, very well, and they protect the cushion in various ways, just ensuring the cushion is clean, and they benefit from the cushions. My experience with therapists that we train, they also participate in creating awareness of appropriate cushions to the users as they give them the wheelchairs. So as they provide the wheelchairs, they train users how to maintain the cushion, how to protect the cushion, and how to use the cushions appropriately. One thing that I have also realized is that when users appreciate the benefits of a cushion, is that they know that if they are to get a pressure sore, it is very, very expensive for them to be admitted in a hospital. So the cost benefit of using an appropriate cushion is that they prevent the pressure sores, and they know that, and the cost impact is that they don't get pressure sore, they live a healthy life, and that is what I can say in terms of benefits of appropriate cushions. Thank you.
Oh, big thanks to Charles, a really experienced member of the team in Kenya. So I guess the things that pulled out from me on that are both the human, financial, social and community cost of treating pressure ulcers. So yeah, an interesting point. Also, along with the advocacy, and that if we share the information and speak regularly to therapists who have, as well as wheelchair users, they have a really big part to play in provision and advocacy. So your attendance today is part of that ecosystem. So thanks again for joining us. One of the most frequently asked questions in your submissions when you were registering was about access to products where you live. Obviously, there's some quite specific and regional and country specific questions there. We'll come back to you on those. But let's hear now from a member of the UNICEF supply team, which could potentially be a helpful source of access as well. Next slide, please, Sarah.
Hello, everyone. I am Muhyiddin Abdullah. I work for UNICEF Supply Division based in Copenhagen, Denmark. UNICEF Supply function ensures children get supply and services they need. It's all where emergency shipments are managed, making sure help gets to the right place at the right time. So all the shipment that you see in emergency situations in Palestine and Ukraine, that's done by most of the humanitarian agencies, are actually done from here at UNICEF Supply Division. Beside the warehouse, we have a catalog, so a mini Amazon. So it's open to all, to UN agencies, governments, NGOs, CBOs, and others. However, for individuals or companies or commercials that want to make profit out of it, they cannot use, unfortunately, they cannot use the catalog. So among the major challenges, of course, in accessing assistive products are unavailability, lack of infrastructure, and high cost. Of course, there are all other challenges. So at UNICEF, we are trying to address this by once adding more products into the catalog, renegotiating the prices, and providing infrastructure support to ensure that products are quality and appropriate. So on your screen, you see photos of wheelchairs, inappropriate wheelchairs that have been provided in different programs in LMICs in low and middle income country that are inappropriate. So bigger sizes, no cushions, the wrong wheelchair for the wrong train, etc. So here is where we are coming in, trying to ensure that products are really appropriate. We consider the right fit, the right type of wheelchair, and of course ensure that wheelchair cushions are included in when programs do procure wheelchairs. Of course, we also make sure that there's quality, of course, durability, flexibility, and usability. So, as I mentioned, we are including more products into our catalog. So among them, we have wheelchair and cushions. We have hearing aid, we have incontinence product, we have vision, we have digital AT, we have inclusive education products. These will be around 200 products that we will have in our catalog. Some are in the pipeline that will be included in the catalog by the end of 2025. But for cushions, yes, we already have them in our catalog. So on the cushions, we have 4 different types of cushions in our catalog with a price range from $16 to $190. We have a long-term agreement with 5 global suppliers, including Motivation and 4 other suppliers. So our cushions have 4 different ranges, from a layered posture cushions to pressure relief modular to pressure relief modular non-layered and the deep immersion. So feel free to reach out to us if you have any question on how you can use our catalog, or if you're interested to learn on how do partners use our catalog, or any. Please feel free to write to me on the emails that you see on the screen. Thank you, and I wish you all the best in the workshop. Over.
Brilliant. Big thanks to Muhuddin from the UNICEF team there. And thanks for your question in the chat. We'll definitely be sharing a link to the catalogue there. And as you saw, it's not just about access to wheelchairs and wheelchair cushions, but also other types of assistive technology, which, you know, build a wider picture that people should be able to access as a right. So if you're an non-commercial organisation and not an individual, hopefully you should be able to access products through that route. As well as UNICEF, just a little word on Motivation Supply here. And as a social enterprise, we manage the product development, supply, logistics, follow-up, customer care and stocking. So we sell to a wide group of organisations, including UNICEF, including CLASP, which might also be another outlet for procurement of a range of different types of assistive technology. We also deal directly with trained wheelchair services and governments, and also commercial resellers as well as not-for-profit organisations. And 100% of the profit that we derive from our product sales is reinvested by the charity, developing our global inclusion activity and enabling people to access mobility as a right. Brilliant. I'm just going to have another quick check on the questions there. Oh, brilliant. Big thanks, Muhuddin, but he's shared the connection to the catalogue in the chat there as well. And we'll also include that in our follow-up. Brilliant. One of the questions we had in earlier was how much are cushions? And obviously we've heard that there's a range available there from UNICEF. Motivation cushions are generally under $50, excluding delivery, and we offer a range of both comfort and postural support and pressure relief cushions. So more on that in a moment. Next slide, please, Sarah.
Hello.
So next up, quite a lot of questions were around how to care for a cushion as well. So let's go to Chris for some guidance on that. Next slide then, please, Sarah.
In this section, we're going to have a quick look at cushion maintenance. So the first thing to do is regularly do a check of your cushion to check everything's okay. And to do this, you do like a visual check. So the first thing I would do is I would just look at the cover, check that none of the seams are torn. I'll look to check nothing's worn or any of the Velcro strips are starting to come apart. And I just have a look at the condition of the fabric. With the cushion itself, I would just have a look and check that there are no tears in the foam, the condition of the foam, whether it's dirty, whether it needs a clean, same with the cushion cover. And then if it does need a clean, then I would wash the cushion. So to wash the fabric, normal, like clothes, but with cushion covers, sometimes they use very thin fabrics on the top of the cushion, and sometimes these fabrics are a little bit stretchy so that they shape nicely when you sit on them. So just wash them gently, not too hard, and you can wring the water out, but not too hard. With the foam, you can wash it in sort of warm, soapy water, and you can sort of try and clean off the dirt as much as possible, but just be gentle with the foam so that we don't damage it. And also, when you're coming to dry the cushion, don't try and roll up the cushion or try and squeeze the water out, because that can damage the structure of the foam, and then it starts to lose some of its nice springy resilient properties. So when you're finished, leave the cushion to drip dry, and don't do it in direct sunlight. Direct sunlight, the ultraviolet radiation can break down the polyurethane foam and make it wear quicker. So drip dry in the shade. This may take a bit of time, and I would recommend if you can have a spare cushion that you can use while your main cushion is drying, that would be the best situation. You then look at just seeing if anything needs repaired. So, for example, if you find a tear in the foam, you can just use a little bit of glue, and you can sort of just glue that foam tear back, and that will stop the tear getting worse and larger chunks falling off. With the cover, like with clothes, if any of the seams are starting to come apart or any of the Velcro strips are starting to peel away, you can just repair those with a needle and thread. If you do find some tears or the top layer of the cushion material is starting to wear, or you've got some big tears in it, that is much harder to repair, because any repair could leave a little bit of a pressure ridge, which could increase the risk of a pressure sore. So at that point, you either replace the entire piece of fabric on the top, or you just need to buy and replace your cushion cover. And you probably need to go back to your wheelchair service and ask them how you can get hold of a replacement cushion cover. Now, some cushions come with two-layer design, and here the softer foam might wear before the bottom more firmer, stronger foam. So in that case, if you find that this foam is starting to tear or it's starting to lose some of its springiness, you could just replace the top layer, put a new top layer on, and then you can keep that cushion working for you. If you have a cushion that's got sort of gel or air compartments in the base or as part of your cushion, you need to check that those components are not leaking. And if you feel that they are leaking and they're losing some of their pressure, then I would recommend you take them back to your wheelchair service and get their advice about how to repair or replace those parts of your cushion. One question I get a lot is, how do you know when your cushion is worn? Now, like anything, like shoes, like clothes, your cushion will naturally wear as you use it, and how fast it wears depends on how long you're sitting on the cushion every day. It depends on how often it gets wet or gets damaged. but generally a foam cushion, like a medium density foam cushion like this, should last at least a year and a half, 2 years, but you need to keep checking regularly as part of your maintenance routine that the condition of the cushion is working for you. To know when it's worn, you just need to press into the foam and just see if the foam is springing back nicely and giving you that stability and that pressure relief. So if you feel like your cushion is not giving you the same level of stability you've had before, do check your cushion, and if you're not sure, take it back to the service and they can also check for you. But if the foam is starting to wear and it's not giving enough pressure relief, it could lead to red marks on your skin and could lead towards a pressure sore. So you do need to check your skin regularly, and if you start seeing some red or sore patches, then you need to go back and see if you can get a new cushion from your service. What they can do in the service is they can do a fingertip test, where when you're sitting on the cushion, they can just feel the pressure under your seat bones, and they can tell whether this cushion is still giving you enough pressure relief. Or they may be able to use pressure mapping technology if they have the equipment at their service. In this section, we're going to have a quick look at cushion maintenance.
Thanks,
So
Sarah.
the first thing
You
to
could
do,
pause that one there. Brilliant. Thanks ever so much, Chris. How to clean, how to mend, how to replace were key questions that came through in the pre-positioned questions when folks were registering. That's what was wanted to know. And we've got 4 questions now as well. Isabella, firstly, apologies for spelling your name incorrectly in the chat. Let's see if we can unmute you and let you ask your question. Thanks, Isabella.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Claire, and thank you so much, team from Motivation. This was really new for me, and I feel I've learned a lot, but also it got me thinking. One thing is I've seen that Motivation also does advocacy. So what maybe I wanted to ask, especially the team, you have a team in Uganda. So are they doing advocacy at ministry level? Because like I'm based in Uganda and I've worked with the ministry, but when you look at the health commodity list, most of the assistive devices, and I think that also includes the cushions, are not yet on the list of health commodities. So that's another challenge. So how sustainable then is this going to be? Yes, it's very important, but how can the ministries adopt and then make sure that this is provided at every cycle of providing health commodities to the health facilities and the hospitals? Then also in terms of costs, I would really, and I know also from maybe your experience, that persons with disability, there are those few who can afford, but majority of people with disabilities might not be able to afford because of the challenges they face, but also within the community, how people perceive people with disability, thinking that these people do not have the ability to work. So you find getting employment is a challenge, and that means economic hardship. So how many people are really able to afford these cushions? Then the majority of them, I do think majority of them will go for a cheaper one, which might not last, which becomes expensive in the long run. So are you giving them at a subsidized rate? Are you partnering with other organizations that can subsidize for people with disabilities? Or are you giving them for free so that they're accessible for persons with disabilities? Yeah, thank you.
Isabella, thank you. Gosh, there's everything you said is really vital and important within the chain, and I'm not sure we're going to be able to answer all of those questions just now, but they were really vital. And affordability, advocacy at ministry level is really important, and the whole ecosystem as to how people can gain access. So just to try and answer a few before perhaps I go to Sarah, or if there are members of the Uganda team to talk more specifically about your question to a much better place. So sorry, Chris, can I ask you to pop on mute just 1 second? Thanks very much. So on cushion supply, so Motivation has funded projects in some of the country regions, and some supply is provided through there. For instance, in Kenya, the team is working very closely with the whole wheelchair and disability ecosystem to develop not only a wheelchair, but obviously an accompanying appropriate cushion, which will be made in Kenya as well. So that's just one of the ways that we're trying to address the really vital point that you make, which is, can people afford them, and can people access them as a right? Because of course there should be access for all. But we'll talk more on that, because I think it'd be really great to share some of the answers and the comments to your question. I think it's really vital. Sarah, can I come to you or a member of the Uganda team to talk a little bit about what's happening there?
I can hop in. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you. I can hop in on the global scale. And Isabella, you're absolutely right how vital that advocacy is and working with governments. And it's something we always do. We try to find out evidence of what works and what doesn't work and try things out. And then we really aim to have strong connections with governments and to discuss with them and to lobby for those changes. So that's definitely something we do. And I'm not sure if Fred is in the meeting because he'll be able to give you more country specific stuff, but you're absolutely right that that's critical and it is a core part of our work.
Brilliant.
Yes, I'm
Fred.
available.
Go ahead, Fred.
Thank you very much, Clare and Sarah. My name is Frederick Semakula. I'm the country manager for Motivation Charitable Trust. I want to say that I sit on the National Wheelchair Coordination Committee, which meets in the Ministry of Health. And the questions are some of the areas that we usually discuss. We really encourage that suppliers must supply chairs, and the chairs must come with the cushions to begin with. I also took an opportunity to participate in the developing the priority list of assistive devices in the country. But as you may note that the priorities of developing countries really vary. It wasn't so easy to push wheelchair as one of the vital necessities in the country, but we pushed chairs, appropriate chairs, and to us as Motivation, appropriate chairs means must come with the cushions. So we will continue with our voices with users, and we continue to work together. Isabel, thank you for the questions.
Brilliantly handled, Fred. Isabel, we'll keep the conversation going, if that's all right, after the event, and check in with you to see if there are other ways we can coordinate our efforts and really push advocacy. I'm going to pause there for a moment. So Mahesh has asked a question, and Chris, thanks ever so much for ably responding to Mahesh in the chat around whether you can bag and cellophane the inners of cushions, and if that enables a bit of water resistance there. Katia, thanks for your question about producing cushions in local areas. Again, Chris has given some brilliant guidance and has got amazing experience on that. Sarah, can we go to the next slide? Because Christoph, you asked a brilliant question around adaptation. Now, cushion modifications are a really complex area. When we were pulling together the details for this presentation, which is an introduction into cushions, we felt that actually it probably deserves its own section. So we've created some materials there. Chris has gone through some brilliant adaptations. So we're going to shortly send out a little update as well, and date and time to attend that event, where I hope we will be able to better place to answer your question more fully. But I think we're done. Oh, some lovely chat. Please feel free to use the chat function. And again, Fred, thanks for answering the question so ably on Uganda there. We're going to move to the last section now. Sarah, if you could go to the next slide. We wanted to give the last word from the presentation, obviously to someone with a lived experience. So here's Catherine.
Hi, my name is Catherine Wayego Kimani, and I work at Motivation Charitable Trust Kenya. I'm a wheelchair user. I've been using a wheelchair for the last 18 years. And I just wanted to touch a little bit about the benefits of the right wheelchair cushion, because I've used quite a number of cushions since I started using a wheelchair. And I've noted that there are some benefits, or there are so many benefits when you use a cushion. Like for me personally, I've noticed that using a cushion, not just a cushion, using the right cushion has enhanced my comfortability. Like I'm very comfortable on my wheelchair since I started using the right cushion. It has also improved my posture. I'm able to sit. I'm able to sit upright. It has also given me better stability. Like I'm very stable on my wheelchair. I don't feel like I'm going to fall. So it has given me the best stability. It has also improved my mobility and independence. I'm able to sit for long hours. I'm able to do my daily activities without like getting tired, without like being worried I might fall or anything. So it has improved my mobility and independence. And the best of all, when you have the right cushion, it reduces the risk of getting pressure sores. Those are things that the pressure sores, I've dealt with them for so many years, but not anymore because I have the best wheelchair and the best cushion. And it also reduces muscle fatigue. You don't feel very tired every time. So getting the right cushion for your wheelchair is the best.
Big thanks for Catherine taking out time to do a recording for us. Catherine's a peer trainer, so an experienced wheelchair user guiding others on health, stability, access, rights, sexual health and other areas as well. So big thanks to her. And I think something that came across in her film for me was about, obviously when you're sitting right, you're in a better position to propel and expelling less energy on moving around as well. But wanted to give the last words on the film to Catherine. So we're just going to sort of wrap up on what we've looked at today. And gosh, we've covered quite a few areas. Central to that is that a wheelchair isn't complete unless it has an appropriate cushion with it. Motivation provides a cushion with every product. Different types of cushions and protection, different supply routes, care and replacement. Obviously, we covered modification. So, Christoph, happy to pick up the discussion afterwards, but hopefully you can join us for that event. And obviously, the impact of an appropriate cushion. So, we'll just pause for a moment to see if there's any other questions that we can pick up in the chat. Is there recent research on the cost of effectiveness of the right cushion in LMICs? Sarah, put you on the spot. Is there anything that you're aware of? I know you're our research guru.
There are, I have to say this is fleeting, but I have noticed recently a few papers on it and we're gathering together those. If people were interested in that sort of information, I would be really happy to take that question, gather the information and send it to people so they've got the links as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah. So just to the last slide to wish you all a brilliant rest of the day. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks to those who gave us questions before the event, which helped us tailor the event, I hope, to answer your questions. And thanks for your engagement during it. Please connect with us over on social channels. You'll hear from us next with follow-up details that will enable you to access some of the information we've discussed today. And also we're here for any other questions that you might have. But thanks ever so much and see you at the next event. Thanks, everyone.